going to tell you a story. Walking over to my pharmacy right now to get a printout of something. So I was misdiagnosed for years, right? Decades, my health issues were misdiagnosed. And as I complained to doctors for years, I can't sleep. There's something wrong when I'm asleep. There's something going wrong when I'm asleep. And I'm scared to go to sleep. I know it's a medical issue. It's a physical issue. When you have sleep issues that your primary doctor can't figure out, you're sent to psychiatry. So let me tell you, when you have breathing issues, and I knew none of this at the time, right? Years later, I had to get educated to figure this out because I was dodging bullets all the time in the medical system. And for years, I was walking around telling doctors I can't breathe. There's something wrong with my breathing, and there's something wrong with my breathing and drugs, prescribed drugs. And I have asthma, but there's something way more happening than that. And okay, let me explain how antipsychotics are used. Antipsychotics are often used off-label for sleep, right? Antipsychotics are powerful respiratory depressants. That means they can profoundly affect your breathing, your respiratory system, your brain. And so they're often used off-label for sleep. And when you're having serious breathing issues, doesn't matter what kind of breathing issue, you want to stay away from too many respiratory depressants. Because the risk is, respiratory depression, your body doesn't want to breathe. And the risk, the worst case scenario is not waking up, right? So antipsychotics are often, there's loads of you out there. There's loads of people out there right now taking an antipsychotic every night for sleep, and you don't even know it's an antipsychotic. One of the most popular ones prescribed off-label for sleep is quetiapine or Seroquel. So at lower doses, they're used for sleep. I've never been psychotic. I've never required an antipsychotic as a psychiatric drug. There are times where they will prescribe antipsychotics for depression. So I'm floating through the medical system. I know I'm being misdiagnosed. I know my medical issues are being misdiagnosed, but I don't have any clue what's wrong with me. I'm severely sleep deprived, and I know that there's something happening while I'm asleep. There's something going wrong when I'm asleep. And eventually it got to the point where I was telling my family doctor, I think I'm having seizures while I'm asleep. And nothing was done. I wasn't being sent for any referrals to respirology, neurology, neurosurgery. And and the more I complain about the sleep issues, the more sleeping pills I'm being given. And so when you're having and I didn't understand really that I had an actual ongoing respiratory issue. I knew that I couldn't breathe, that it progressed to the point where I was saying regularly to my doctor, I can't breathe at night. I get in bed and my body doesn't want to breathe anymore. like something is killing me. I'm dying from something. I get into bed and my body doesn't want to breathe anymore. And imagine trying to relax every night knowing that your breathing is way too slow and you're fighting to breathe while you're still awake. And I noticed a connection with powerful drugs, that this made my breathing much worse. And all the medications that they had me on, I really didn't understand what they did to the body, the brain, the respiratory system. So I knew some stuff was going on, but for the most part, I didn't understand anything back then. I understand it all now. I understand most of it now, but back then I didn't understand anything. And this was before the opioid crisis. I think our opioid crisis really took off 10, 15 years ago, and I didn't even know what an opioid was. And, opioids are powerful respiratory depressants, as are antipsychotics. And, lots of medications are respiratory depressants. And I started to learn, there's something wrong with me and my breathing and drugs. But I wasn't certain which drugs. Like, for example, I was being given opioids at times, and I didn't know what an opioid was. And I would warn my doctor over and over again, okay, whatever you're giving me for pain, make sure it's not going to affect my breathing. And they would smile and, okay, and prescribe an opioid when I'm already on a couple benzos and a few sleeping pills. So I'm walking out, I'm literally dodging bullets. And not only dodging bullets, I'm getting hit by bullets over and over again. Over medicated over and over again. And so I'm trying to find, I know I'm being misdiagnosed. I don't understand what is actually happening to me. I don't understand what the diagnosis might actually be, but I know for certain that I'm being misdiagnosed. So I go to see this one doctor. I've never met him before. I'm looking for answers. And I say, and he's a psychiatrist, right? They send you to shrinks when you have serious sleep issues, because they assume it's a psych issue, even, anyways. So I got to see this guy, and he's, very charismatic, very warm and engaging, and, lovely, flashy white smile, and really, really charismatic, and alarmingly so. And I'm thinking, whoa, like what, so he says, okay, so great. I have this new antidepressant. And he's looking at his screen, and he's pulling the screen away from my view. He's pulling the screen out of my view. And he's saying, oh yeah, this is new, amazing antidepressant, and it'll help you sleep. And I'm like, oh, and he's all animated and smiling, and I'm like, oh, why have I never heard about this before? Because I'm reading and trying to research all the time. Why have I never heard about this before? And he's pulling the screen away from me, and I'm craning and I'm straining in my seat trying to see the screen. Like, something's not right here. Why is he hiding this from my view? And, you don't want to get too aggressive during an appointment when you've never met the person before. And he says, oh, smiling away, I can give you an injection. I can give it to you right now. And he gets up and goes to his closet. And he said, it'll help you sleep for 6 months. I'm like, yeah, but what if there's serious side effects? And, I'm usually having problems breathing from medications. Oh, no, you won't have any problems with this. And I say no, because, I almost went for it. And I thought, no, because if I have serious side effects, then this drug is stuck in me for 6 months. Okay. So, and so he writes me a prescription. He said, oh, well, I can give it to you in pill form. And I said to him, you're sure it's not an antipsychotic or anything powerful, because I won't be able to breathe? And he said, oh, no, it's an antidepressant. Smiling away like this guy's my best friend, right? Smiling, amiable, jolly. I go to take it to the pharmacy. I go to get it filled. They fill it and I say, I'm about to pay for it. And I say, well, this is not an antipsychotic, is it? And they say, yeah. I phoned, I think my phone was dead. I had my cell phone with me. But anyways, phoned from the pharmacy. And I said, okay, I specifically told you that I can't breathe with an antipsychotic for sleep. I cannot breathe. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me call in a different one. I'm so sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. So he calls in another one to the pharmacist, and I'm waiting for it, and they bring it to me, and I say, it's not an antipsychotic, is it? Yes, it is. I ended up writing him a letter saying, I ended up calling him again, and I did write him a letter saying, there's something wrong with you, and I think you're dangerous. And I said that to him on the phone. There's something wrong with you, why you would do this to me. And then years later, I found the Rate Your MD, and there's all these reviews saying this guy is a psychopath. This guy's literally a psychopath. That's the only doctor's reviews that I've ever seen anybody and several people saying this man is a psychopath. And shockingly, no one has erased those reviews. And I would say this was a dangerous human being. And what I realized later was this was a 6-month antipsychotic this guy would have injected me with. There would be no way to reverse or get this drug out of my system. This guy would have killed me with this injection. He would have killed me. You know what I was suffering from? Misdiagnosed by everybody for decades. I was suffering from sleep apnea, a narrow airway, and respiratory depression. So I'm stopping breathing at night over and over and over again. Respiratory depression, slow, shallow breathing. My body doesn't want to breathe. And a narrow airway. And, it escalated to the point that this was severe sleep apnea. This guy would have killed me with this injection. I don't doubt that for a second. So right now I'm going to get a copy of that prescription, and I want to see what other sleeping pills and respiratory depressants I was already at the time that he was going to inject me. And I've known for decades I was being misdiagnosed. I was actively looking for help. I'm dodging all these bullets out here. I was overdosed several times by 2 different people. And I want to know why is there no one to help someone like this? Why is there nobody to help patients like this? When you're in trouble, you're dodging bullets, they've got it wrong, and there's this narrative in your medical records that you don't know what you're talking about, that you're delusional about your sleep issues, and you end up being right, and they were all wrong. Why is there no one to protect patients? I really would love to see some advocacy out here.